Hi you guys, it's Moonlight Mason, and in this video I want to share some of my thoughts on the Vegas shooter and that whole incident that happened in Vegas. And I feel like sometimes I have these thoughts that kind of percolate in my head and I don't see anyone talking about the possibilities. And so that is what this video is about. It's just about my thoughts. To be honest, I don't know anything more than you know, but I do have my theories. So if you're interested in listening to what I have, what's going on in my head with the thoughts, keep watching. Hey you guys, I'm Moonlight Mason, and if you're new to this channel, welcome. You'll notice that I do a variety of content, and today it's going to be kind of a, a sad one, but what I'm doing is just sharing my thoughts with you. Again, I don't know anything more than you know, and what we know is only what has been shared with us by the media. I have to say that if you have been a victim or you have anyone that you know that has been affected by this Vegas shooter, we are just, there are no words to explain how me personally I have felt. I feel as a human being, we are all one, okay? And so when something happens to another human, we all have a feeling of despair. I am truly sorry if you have been affected by this tragedy, and if you're new to my channel, consider subscribing. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, but most of all, I want to see your comments below because I want to know what you're thinking. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is, you know how when you start dating someone and they say, or when you first meet someone at any social event or any time, they always say that if you really listen, like within the first 5 minutes or something like that, you'll know just about everything you need to know about that person, because people usually reveal themselves to you rather quickly. We may choose not to pick up on the little cues, and my mind has been percolating about the Vegas shooter, and I have so much to say about, I don't know what that monster. I have so much to say about that monster. The first thing that I want to say is the very first thing that happened that came out in the news as a motive was that ISIS took responsibility for that act. They actually said, we are responsible for it. And that's all we heard. And then it just died down. Let me know in the comments below if you heard that too, because, we heard it once and it went away. And so all I'm saying is that my thoughts has been thinking, they're working, apparently, what they're telling us is that the FBI and everyone else that's involved in trying to figure out a motive can't find one. And that somehow or another, ISIS is just, they just closed the door, at least to the public's knowledge. They just closed the door right away on that possibility. We don't know why, it just could have been they didn't find anything on his computer. I don't know, he wasn't on any high terrorist watch list. I'm not sure. But in my mind, right, I still think that was a possibility. And I also feel like if indeed it was, I don't even like to say these terms, that word ISIS, I don't like to say it, so that's probably the last time I'll say it. But if it was, then they think about if they would have told us that it was. Just pretend for 1 second that we knew, or that we would be told that it was, and how that would affect our day-to-day living, our well-being, our safety in general, if they would have said, or even if they would have said, you know, there is a possibility that it is, we're looking into it. But the media didn't say that. They mentioned that they did take responsibility for it, and then they closed the door. Okay, I'm gonna leave that one alone. The other thing too is, there's just so much. Okay, let's start with what they're telling us right now when they told us from the beginning some of the facts, you know, how they weren't really facts, because now there's a lot of changes that have come out. The date that he checked into the hotel, you know, they're saying that at first he checked in on the 28th and then it was on the 25th, and now they're saying it's because he checked in on the 25th with rooms, or a room that he was comped, because he's such a big gambler there. He was comped the room, but he was actually waiting. I guess he was on a waiting list for these 2 suites on the 32nd floor to become available, which he paid for. Now, when you think about that, when you check into a hotel, you know, you have to give your driver's license and your name, or, you know, whatever it is. It's interesting to me that they didn't know, that they're saying they didn't know, that he had really checked in to the same hotel. It's not even like it was a different hotel, the same hotel 3 days prior. So they were saying he checked in on the 28th, but then now it's coming out that he really checked in on the 25th. It's just that because he checked in on the 25th and his couple of days were comped, that is why I guess there was a glitch in finding out the real date that he checked in. Something to think about. All right. The other thing is, they're saying that his floor that he was on, now I'm thinking about it. They're saying it's a floor. So in my mind, I'm thinking, were there no other, because they've never talked about if there were other people staying on the 32nd floor. What did he do? Rent out the whole floor? That's never been said, that they had to take care of the people who were staying on the 32nd floor. As a matter of fact, what they have said is that he had cameras outside his door that he could see from the inside, so he can see if somebody was approaching. And he had somehow Jimi rigged the door coming up from the stairwell into that floor. He had, like, you know, kind of bolted it shut or something like that. I started thinking right away, okay, are there not hotel security cameras on every floor? Okay, these are my thoughts that I'm sharing with you. I don't know any more than you know. This is the way my thoughts are thinking. I'm thinking, wait a minute. You know, aren't there other people on the 32nd floor? Wouldn't you, you know, when you walk down the hallway, you've stayed in a hotel. When did he have an opportunity to bolt that door down leading to the stairway from the 32nd floor without being seen? Think about that. When did he have that opportunity to set up cameras? Like, he had a camera on the outside of his door? I mean, think about that. You mean, what about, oh, I got it. This just came to me. What about the cleaning crew? The cleaning crew, the maids that go up there every day to clean the rooms every morning. He was there for how many days? And you mean to tell me that the maids on the 32nd floor never saw cameras on the outside of his door, or never saw that one door bolted shut, whatever he did to prevent them from entering through the stairwell? I mean, those are like, that's just like, I don't know, that just doesn't make any sense to me at all. Then there's stuff going around the internet, which I don't believe. But there's stuff going on YouTube, and there's videos saying that there were 2 shooters. No, I'm not saying I don't believe there were 2 shooters. There could have been. I'm saying that they said that there was another shooter, or that he really was on the 4th floor, because the windows from the bottom to the 4th or 5th floor, they do open. I don't know where that's coming from. I do not believe that at all. I don't think that he acted alone. It's very difficult for me to believe that, well, I mean, you can lose your mind. I mean, we've seen this happen many times with people that go crazy that and all of a sudden, you don't know where this stuff is coming from. So you can, like, flip out in your mind. But this wasn't something like that. This is something that he planned for quite a while. And at first, my mind thought, oh, I wonder if this was like a plant. Like he really didn't do it, but they're framing him. See, these are all the thoughts in my head. Now let me get back to the media, because I do have some contention, quite a bit, with the media. Oh God, there's so much. People, oh man, people were hurt, people died, right? And it's interesting to me that even on Dr. Phil, when he did his show on the Vegas shooter, it's interesting to me how the media and the producers at Dr. Phil and all these other programs that are doing this one thing feel that it's okay to replay the sound of the machine gun over and over and over. Like, that da-da-da-da-da-da. I mean, I'm thinking, when I see that, I'm thinking, what about the person who was there, who was already gonna have some, flashbacks, whose life has already been affected forever, just by hearing, even if they weren't injured, just by the mere fact that they were there and they heard that sound. And now on TV, I'm not hearing it right at this second, right now when you're watching it, it seems to have died down. I just don't understand our society sometimes. I don't understand why in anyone's head that would be okay to play the sound, that sound, and even the scene a little bit, those scenes of everyone running and scurrying. I understand at first, right? But like 3, 4, 5 days later, why do you keep playing that sound? This isn't a game. This isn't something to boast about to get more ratings on your TV show. This is something that killed human beings. This is a horrible tragedy that happened here. It's not something to be taken lightly. So there's that. I told you I got a lot to say. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to talk about again is the shooter. Okay, let me just say this. After about, and you know what, I do watch quite a few, CNN, MSNBC. I watch all of these news shows, right? And I know that after a while, one of them said, we are no longer going to show their picture and we are no longer going to say their name. And as you can see in this video, in my video that I'm making right now, I will not say that monster's name. I'm not going to say the name. And I feel in my head, I'm thinking, why hasn't the human race advanced? I don't understand. Why haven't they advanced enough to know that when something like this happens, you can show their picture one time and say, this is the person who did it. Or you could say, if you want to see the person who did it, you can go over here and send them to some link or something. But to say their name over and over and have their pictures come up, like 20 times in one news feed, in one broadcast, it's like turning them into a celebrity. It's crazy to me that that we would want to see this person's face, to hear his name, and to hear the sounds over and over and over. What that does is it traumatizes you and I. It traumatizes us. What it does is it instills fear. It's an isolated incident. It's a horrible thing that happened. I think more of that stuff is happening. I really do. And then, like, wasn't it like right after that, there's like this big gun show? Like right after that, there was this huge gun show. And you know, forgive me for not knowing exactly where that gun show was. I'm not sure if it was in Nevada. It might have been, but tell me if you know. I don't know where it was, but isn't that interesting that after this, they went ahead with the gun show? Like, you know, it's just that's something else that I don't understand how this happened. And then they said, oh, well, we'll just, you know, try to make, what is it? I forget, you guys, bulldogs or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? That little piece that you put on a gun, on a machine gun to make it like a ammo gun or something like that. I don't know anything about guns, but you know what I'm talking about. Then they're talking, oh, you know, why don't we try to make that little piece illegal? Oh, well, you know, this state has gun control and, or I'm sorry, this state does not have gun control and they hardly have any violence. There are so many people that are for arming themselves because of the Second Amendment. Is it the Second Amendment or the Fifth Amendment? Excuse me, but there's so many people on one side and on the other side. And the whole thing is getting out of control because we're losing focus on what truly matters. And what truly matters here is that there's a lot of people out there that are running around that live next door to you and I, that, you know what I was thinking? You know, like certain white supremacist groups like the KKK, you know, I was thinking, what do these people do for a living? I'm gonna tell you what they do for a living. They're your butcher, they're your dentist, they're your doctor, they're your, you know, they're in Congress. They're all over the place. They have regular jobs, they have children, they go to school with your kids. They're living the same life that everyone else is living. The only difference is that they believe that they're the superior race. It's just insane. It's insanity is what it is. All of this stuff doesn't make any sense. And when the media tries to tell us what's going on, and then they tell us just enough to keep us guessing, they tell us to put fear. I know that when Dr. Phil went to the hospital and he interviewed someone who had gotten shot, she said, I will never go to a concert again. And I don't blame her. I don't think there's anything wrong with, if something happens to you, wherever you are in life, for your mind to tell you, I will never do that again. Like riding a horse and then you fall down and you break both legs. And some people, hey, I'm getting back on a horse. And that, some people, or maybe most people admire that, you know, people who have gotten into horrendous motorcycle accidents and they're like, I'm getting back on a motorcycle. You know, I guess that is a quality to be admired that I personally don't understand. I'm not that kind of person. And that doesn't mean that they're wrong and that I'm right. It just means that we're different. I'm the kind of person that, I'm just going to tell you something. I am so happy. I'm so happy that living in the Bay Area, growing up in the Bay Area, I went to all the Day in the Greens. I'm so happy that I went to so many outdoor concerts in Golden Gate Park when I was little. I mean, I saw Janis, Joplin. I saw, oh God, it'll come to me. Anyways, they were playing together. The other guitarist. Anyways, oh wow. Anyways, I'm just so happy that I got to experience concerts when I did. And would I go to a concert? I would go to a concert. I would. I would go to Vegas and I would go to a concert. But would I go to a concert outdoors with you know, crowds of people? It's my choice. Your choice may be differently, and it's okay that we're different. But I personally wouldn't. I just choose not to. Okay, so having said all that, I think I just want to end with that. I think we're all humans. I don't think we know. We know. We are all humans. And I want to include all living beings in what I'm about to say. And I mean the animals, all of the animals that are slaughtered for us to eat, all of the animals that are homeless in shelters and will never find a home, all of the animals that are in labs used for experimentation. When I say that we are all one, I'm talking about that spirit, the spirit that God made, and He did not make spirits and segregate them. He did not say, these souls are for animals and those, and certain ones, not all of them, right? Certain ones you can eat on this part of the country, and another part of the country you can eat these other ones. That is silly. God never separated souls. People are the ones who have separated spirit, separated souls. People are the ones that say, if your skin color doesn't look, that happened to me when I was in elementary school, but that's another story, because I was bullied, right? And for my color of my skin, because, you know, people didn't know if I was black or if I was white. You could only fit into two categories. There were a few Asians, but mostly you were black or you were white. I wasn't black, I wasn't white, I was Puerto Rican. And when I went to school, there were a few Mexicans, there weren't any Puerto Ricans. Where I grew up, there was hardly any Puerto Ricans except for a couple of tias and uncles and cousins, and that's it. So I did experience some of that in my life. And to say that the color of your skin, the form, let's just say your form, because a lot of people are discriminated against because they have disabilities or they're just different than you and I. We are different in every shape, way, or form. To say that you are better than any other living being that wants to live is a disorder in and of itself. There is something majorly wrong to say that we have power over other living beings, and all they want to do, the living beings, and I just told you who they were, all they want to do is live. That's all they want to do. So when this one girl on Facebook, which is brought, I'm not going to say her name because you know what, I don't want to get into controversy with people. I don't want to fight. That's not what I'm about. But this one person on Facebook, a vegan, by the way, who, I'm not saying anything about vegans, vegan for 17 years, okay? So I'm not saying anything. But a vegan said that the real tragedy in the people that lost their lives in Vegas is that we would have never seen their potential of becoming vegan or of becoming an animal rights person. That's absurd. That is seriously a mental disorder if you think that. Because you are imposing being a vegan and being in animal rights into a living being. It doesn't matter who they were, what they did, how they dressed that night, what they ate. It doesn't matter what they ate that night. They could have eaten KFC or McDonald's burgers. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that they were human beings and their lives were taken from them by some monster. And with that, I'm going to end this video. Kind of turned into a little rant. But with that, I'm going to end this video. And again, if you are watching and you've been affected by this disaster or any disaster, if you're in Puerto Rico, my God, you know, I'm still suffering. I'm still paying about Puerto Rico. If you are in any of the fire zones that have been happening or any of the flood zones, or if you've you know, had someone close to you that just lost their life in any way, shape, or form, coming from my heart to yours, I am truly, truly sorry. This is it for this video, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.